Hello, welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: the labor movement against contributing high pay as you earn. Former Agriculture Minister GREYFORD MONDE predicts hunger as MEALIE meal prices go up. KABWE Mayor cries over KK statue as residents reject the sculpture. In international news, Malawi intensifies cholera prevention measures for schools. In sports news, Football Association of Wales agree landmark deal of equal pay.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. House-grafted avocado plants, fruiting within 2 to 3 years, for sale at only 90 kwacha each. And ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Hello again, another news in detail. Some residents in KABWE have challenged KABWE Mayor Patrick Chishala to pull down the KK statue mounted in front of the KABWE High Court roundabout. Speaking during random interviews, residents say the statue is ugly, a source of conflict, and that it does not reflect the true replica of the founding father of Zambia, the late Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. And others have described it as a failed project which needs to be uprooted immediately. The statue has received wider condemnation on social media, both locally and abroad. More in this report.
Videos are there where they are seen unplucking and destroying and unwrapping the statues, as it were.
A selected members of community in KABWE has challenged KABWE Mayor Patrick Chishala to pull down the infamous KK statue mounted in front of the KABWE High Court roundabout. The community has described the statue as ugly and a source of conflict, adding that it was poorly done and that it does not even reflect the true replica of the founding father of this nation, the late Dr. Kenneth Kaunda.
I'm not proud of that statue. It's not looking gorgeous, it's not nice.
The statue has been wrapped again few days after the mayor unveiled it.
So what's supposed to be done? We just have to put a new structure. Not because enough to not protect. So the support the town center, town center.
They just need to remove that thing. If they are able to make something better, then they can continue from what they have done. But for now, that thing needs to be removed.
Even Zambians in the diaspora, including foreigners, have also condemned the statue on social media. The statue has received more negative comments on social media, others describing it a failed project of the 21st century of the town. Petronella Msangulule, Camnet TV News in KABWE, Central Province.
Traders at Lusaka's city market selling along the corridors have bemoaned harassment by alleged United Party for National Development, UPND cadres, whom they say are demanding that they leave the corridors while replacing them with traders who are UPND party members. Speaking to Camnet News, the traders who arose as an angry mob have challenged the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to conduct ground checks at the market, alleging that the said cadres have usurped authority from the Lusaka City Council as they are more in number and controlling the market. The traders have called for allocation of market stands, stating that they too should be allowed to trade in the same way street vendors have been allowed to continue until a permanent solution is found. More in this report.
Market space in Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, has remained one of the #1 causes of wrangles in the central business district due to the high number of traders against the available market space. This has left many trading along corridors of the markets and others selling on the streets. Wrangles have emerged at Lusaka City Market after traders selling along the corridors have allegedly been told to vacate the corridors without an alternative trading place by alleged United Party for National Development UPND cadres in preference for traders who are members of the party. The traders who sought confidentiality were speaking to Camnet News.
Vamaleja vatipisha paderazo apa atistifuna muntu aliyense ndiponkhala abantu manje ponkhala abantu sakana mayesenzo ogulisa pamene yapa but upezeka kuti tisakila unga vana wa sikulu vanapasa vatipisha wani banthi yakwana pamene yapa but president anagomekeza titantikani pali ponse akalipotu sakilirako tupeleka but wewe vatipisa manje tiziva mtikambireko
mailo tulatantika mailo vabwera va manager va kanso vavakanya vabwera valeta makadazi vambiri notupisha venangu vamenya vataya boa vakangiwa makada vaenda pa polisi vaenda otenga vapolisi vakana ati mutatupisha ntchito vapolisi valika nokwisa kwati mwana tutampishe ntchito vapresidenti na vatuminisha tikene mapendazi valeta ntika waifwe mu city market patalazo vatupisha bwanji
mwe vafyashipeta ndaulango mteko mutuverereko oluse muturetsantika mugia twalishipati mwakwikala abantu mokwakweyata tukwete kwekuvavili bamukamfuirwa tulesunga vana vanshiwa mayanda yavene.
They have further challenged the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to visit the market, stating that the former Patriotic Front office, which was said to have been closed, is actively being used by the UPND, who are working alongside the council in running the market and have even overpowered them as they are more in number.
Vakansi vachuka popa bwana makada bandi vatipisha pamanja tinsa tirangiza idea yako ndio kanso vazona savo tirangiza maiti yao vatipisha cha but street ukapopisha onse ku street uko vantu va sevens na vapisha isomo ndio ngati vapisha ku street nazo ngatipisha sachoka hapa maana ngwa vatipisha sanda kuti
kuterazo twachura vale tutambya pali ponso kulatantika 18 hours nomba twala kwanisho kutantika 18 hours ngatikwata abana bakulipirira ku maskulu abana banshi kwevambita tokwata navalume tulira pa business manje vakada nishivabwerera kuraisa mkulu atutantia
vatiresa kutantika kutokera kudala na kudala tenzotantika patiya vatiresa kutantika maye tizamba kutya chani tili na vana amasiye tisunga vana amasiye tizaenda kuti tili ndife amukamfirwa
inena kwankala 2 months 2 weeks no yeah tulinkati socha pepamala panaenda wonse ngatwati tutantike watupisha ngati tuliwakati iya apana ngwatupisha hapa ungamya kutantika mkati nango tungene mkati palibe tunga kulise nango wanu msiti market.
Meanwhile, journalists who went to the market to report on the situation had an exchange with the alleged UPND cadres who attempted to grab equipment and harassed them.
No, Mama. Mommy, yes, and he shouldn't. He should not manhandle you, and that's wrong. That's wrong.
I'm a journalist. I've
Yes.
come here to play on the
That's very wrong. It's very wrong.
Federalism. I'm
Yes.
going to put you on TV for federalism.
Mommy, let's solve.
The traders have called for real change, alleging that they have seen no change concerning cadres at the market in comparison to the PF administration. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you, Zipporah, for that report. The increased mealie meal price in most parts of the country has been showing negative results both at household and business level. Challenger Market restaurant owners have expressed concern over this development, stating that profits have dwindled. A few spoken to say restaurant partners are not willing to pay the new prices in line with the mealie meal prices. They have since pleaded with the government to look into subsidizing mealie meal for the prices to be manageable. More in this report.
The cost of living has continued to increase beyond the reach of many Zambians, notably the cost of living for a family of 5 as measured by the Jesuits Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR Basic Needs and Nutrition Basket for the month of December 2022 in Lusaka stood at 8,982 kwacha, and the cost of mealie, which is Zambian staple food, has been on an upward trajectory, fetching around 185 kwacha and 200 kwacha in most parts of the country. Residents of Lusaka Chilenje Township are saddened and disappointed given that President Hakainde Hichilema's administration promised cheaper mealie meal.
Tabutika fi market ya muno bama restaurant kuunga malasha ma cooking oil tubebe tipezamu tikepo futi kuno tifunika olipira bakanso tizaba lipira chani malaiti na yeve kulibe so mwandi unga weve mwatipesha ndio zisala mitengo bantu za kudala bakana taikira 25 kwacha mtu aka nafuna 15 na 20 manje batizasa beva bwanji na bana kuna change ndio ichameti nayo pano kangono kaunga 98 kwacha tizaza beva bwanji ma businesses so please batitandize.
And some restaurant owners say the high price of mealie meal is affecting their business.
Pali unga peve unga tenze kuya unga mama 100 spot 120 apa manje unga 205 unga manje takai kumwe chigulira bomba veti pezamu tifika chabe uswa bochita chabe tipemba ko change amene mnakamba mtichinjireko koza apa chedo chabe ndibenda chepa so go business benda chabe vuta sedi tipupuluke chenda chabe kosela so tangane mpono president watu wa chechi tamboterana mtima umozi.
Jabulani Chira reporting, Camnet News.
Former Deputy Minister of Agriculture under the Patriotic Front administration, GREYFORD MONDE, has charged that the 2022-2023 farming season is the worst farming season ever in the history of the country. Mr. MONDE has since predicted hunger in the year 2023. Mr. MONDE, who is a Patriotic Front presidential aspirant, says the prevailing high cost of mealie meal is a reflection of the mismanagement of the agriculture sector by the UPND government. Mr. MONDE says the government must move away from what he terms as a chaotic management of the agriculture sector for the year 2023-2024 farming season. Here's a report.
The episode of the 2022-2023 farming season was characterized by hiccups in the agriculture sector. Prominent among them was what many stakeholders have described as a chaotic distribution of farming inputs. Former Deputy Minister of Agriculture under the Patriotic Front PF administration, GREYFORD MONDE, notes that the government has not been proactive in addressing pitfalls in the agriculture sector. The PF presidential hopeful has since advised the United Party for National Development administration to improve the delivery of farming inputs under the 2023-2024 farming season.
So in my view, I think that government really at this stage, they must just begin to work to ensure that the next season, the 2023-2024 season, is well done, unlike what they have done. I think it's completely failure on the part of government. And I'm glad that the government has taken responsibilities, except there are certain overzealous government officers who still want to insist that government has done the correct thing. I fear for the country, this 2023, that there will be serious hunger. You know that currently, as I'm talking to you, the country is crying. There is no food, there is no mealie meal, the prices have gone very high. Even where the prices are high, Sometimes you don't even find a commodity.
The country has also seen a rise in the price of mealie meal, fetching between 185 kwacha to 200 kwacha and beyond in some areas. And Mr. Monde notes that the high price of mealie meal, which is beyond the reach of many Zambians, is a reflection of mismanagement of the agriculture sector. He has since tipped the UPND government on how to manage the mealie meal situation in the country.
The price of mealie meal is keeping to go up. Okay, it's now at 280. In certain places, actually, there is a 300 kwacha per bag. And even that 300, you have to wake up at 04 because there's a scarcity of the commodity on the market. So I think for me, really, government should have stepped up their efforts. I know when I was Minister of Agriculture myself, that every morning during such times of crisis, we would sit down and make sure that we control the prices. How did we do it? We would engage the millers every day. 6 o'clock would have a meeting at the ministry, talking to the millers. Do you have commodity? What are your gaps? How much do you need? Okay, I need 5 tons of maize. FRA, please, can you provide to these people at such a price? How much are you selling? We're selling at so much. With that price, if we give you the commodity ourselves, we want you to be at this price. Who would control?
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Gesi Nyirenda believes that the United Party for National Development government means business in democratizing the civic space in the country. The draft Public Order Act has finalized, and Ministries of Justice and Home Affairs and Internal Security have pledged to ensure that the proposed Public Gatherings Bill of 2023 is approved by Cabinet for possible enactment by the National Assembly. And Mr. Nyirenda is optimistic that the recommendation of stakeholders will remain intact up to the point of enactment into law. He has commended the UPND government for taking a bold step and decision to revise the law that has been used by governments to stifle the freedom of assembly.
We know that the Public Order Act has had so many issues. It was very notorious, or it is a notorious law, in the sense that it first of all stifles people's expression. It also limits the civic space. But we see that the proposed public gatherings law, which stakeholders through the consultation, extensive consultation by government, have come up with. We see that this law now is able to reduce the number of days when someone is going to seek for an appointment or engagement with the police, to notify the police. The days have been reduced from 7 days to 4 days. But we also see that the appeal, in case that the notification is rejected, the appeal should not be made through the minister, which was the case with the Public Order Act. But now the appeal will be made through the courts of law. And that for us is actually looking at things with the human rights eye. The human rights have been brought to the center and to the pivot of this particular law. And this is what we have envisaged for a very long time as Zambians. We expect that government will seriously, quickly, expedite the process of tabling this in Parliament, so that we can have, a better law as we have envisaged for a long time.
Malala Day Secondary School head teacher in Chikankata district of Southern Province, Mwaka Ngandu, has called for an upgrade of infrastructure at the school, stating that some buildings were constructed as far back as 1928. In an interview, Ms. Ngandu adds that despite the school having been upgraded to a secondary school from a basic school, the infrastructure has remained unchanged. She also notes that the school has water challenges, while desks as well as teachers' houses have remained inadequate, thereby requesting for these to be addressed by the current administration. Meanwhile, Chikankanta Member of Parliament Jacqueline Savao has assured that these challenges will be addressed using the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) to ensure that pupils, especially girls, remain motivated to go to school.
Stakeholders in the education sector have been observing that while most urban areas have a good quality of education, the same cannot be said for public schools located in rural areas, as they face a number of problems ranging from poor infrastructure to sanitation challenges. This is the situation of Malala Day Secondary School in Chikankata district of Southern Province, whose buildings have remained unchanged despite the school being upgraded from a basic school to a secondary school. Malala Day Secondary School head teacher Mwaka Ngandu highlights these challenges.
At least improve on the infrastructure because of the new status of the school. The school has been at basic level. Now that it has reached grade 12, that's where we are still struggling. Yes, and maybe in terms of basics, we are still very far. There are about 3 empty rooms where there isn't even a single desk. Yes, and the one block that was built a long time ago in 1928, it still needs a renovation. As a result, it looks like a health hazard. So that's where at least we can say we are a bit challenged. And for running water, like you stated, we have been trying to sink boreholes. We were just been finding dry boreholes, but we have not stopped at that. We are still pushing until we find water in the school.
Meanwhile, Chikankata Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao, who was speaking after visiting the said school among other schools, has emphasized on the need to ensure that girl children complete school.
Despite the environment where our children are going to different schools, at the end of the year, you have the same exams, the same cutting point. Is it fair? So now, coming from that, your government said, no, we should give equal opportunities to our children in schools. We'll make sure that this Malala should have water, piped water, should have freshable toilets, so that you have good facilities around. So through your community leaders and myself as your area member of parliament, to make sure that this school is well equipped, and also your educators, they have good accommodation, so that when they come to teach you, they are well motivated.
Other schools visited include Mulando Community School and Ngangula Primary School, which have been selected as schools which will benefit from the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. It is hoped that the CDF will help in bridging inequalities that exist among schools and create a universal standard of education. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
United Party for National Development, UPND Chairman for Energy, Charles Kaisala, has charged that the current administration managed to control load shedding within a few months of coming into office, and that what the country is now experiencing is an unforeseen circumstance. Addressing the media Wednesday on the energy crisis in Zambia, Mr. Kaisala states that President Hakainde Hichilema was not misinformed about load shedding, but that he was speaking based on the current circumstances at that time. The UPND chairman for energy adds that what has also led the country to the current scenario of 12 hours load shedding is a rising demand for energy due to an ever-increasing population. He, however, says the UPND is on top of things and will, within its 5-year mandate, normalize the electricity situation in the country, as it will keep rolling out various programs aimed at ending the problem of load shedding.
Notion of the MD ESCO misleading the president is coming from, because that statement was made in that context of the UPND government managing to add an additional 450 megawatts to the national grid. It's as simple as that. So, like I've said, when you put more generation to the national grid, it doesn't mean that is the end of the world. Because this energy, the demand will still keep rising. Like I've just said, every year you have 200 megawatts demand, more demand. So if you don't put energy generation, after 10 years, 200 megawatts will become what? 2,000. So if you haven't added any generation, it means you will go back into a deficit situation. So this is a continuous process. Like I said, that people who were in charge of this country before didn't invest in a new generation, especially energy mix. There was no no investment whatsoever, or maybe political will to bring in new generation. So this is where we are coming from, and this is what we are trying to clear, because the way people are attacking us as if we are the causes of this problem.
A 43-year-old man of Nangoma area in Mwomba district has expressed disappointment in the police of Nangoma police post for failing to arrest his own brothers who beat him up to the point of costing his sight in October last year. Speaking to the media in Mwomba district of Central Province, Harrington Muboso, a father of 3, has narrated that his brother's children allegedly insulted his grandmother, and when he confronted them about their alleged insults, his own brothers, identified as Hobson Muboso and Big Bon Muboso, pounced on him. He alleges that when he reported the matter to Nangoma police, he was issued with a medical report, but nothing has been done about his brothers. He has, however, called on concerned organizations to come to his aid and help him fight for his rights.
Family, and our brother wanatuka na wambuye wao. So inakwenda kufunza kuja brothers bamba unimenya. Animenya this time musini kusevenza sini yangana na taking action ipeleka ku police si taking any action iliyonse. So hapa ndabwira kuno officer in charge ku taking action kuri Boro 1. Isa kuyenda ukuyoneka nkani ni avibaka baka nkani again. Kemwiriri nkani. Taking actions wana wagire Boro 1 wa police. Because nikaenda kwa police wanchachitsa kwa wansia chepa mina hapo waende. So that's why now Nankani is could be very taking kuyambira mu almost 6 months so kani could be very taking. That's why nabwira ku kani yabwira ku kangani yonse kashitika yenda ku inquiries na dapo nkani yenda muri officer in charge. I'm very disappointed by the yonkani. And menya my brothers in Robson Mubuso, Big Boy Mubuso. Funanifuna majawantu wagwiriwe wamangiwe because in apanasi ya 7 this time chito yamba ya upempa chapi.
The Zambia Congress of Trade Union has called on government to undertake a comprehensive review of the pay-as-you-earn tax this year to reduce the tax burden on workers and sustainably increase the disposable incomes for workers. ZCTU President Blake Mulala notes that workers across the country have continued to bear the heavy tax burden primarily from pay-as-you-earn and value-added tax, adding that in this year's national budget, workers are expected to contribute 19.3 billion kwacha in income tax alone, in addition to other tax contributions that come through VAT and levies. Mr. Mulala explained that an analysis of the current revenue performance as per recent data released by the Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, shows that payee contributes the largest share of total revenue at 20% of all total revenue. Mr. Mulala was speaking during the Tripartite Consultative Labour Council meeting in Lusaka Wednesday. Meanwhile, Labour and Social Security Minister Brenda Tambatamba says the meeting is aimed at finding solutions to the challenges in the labour market. More in this report.
Wednesday, 18th January 2023, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security led stakeholders in a tripartite consultative Labour Council in Lusaka to discuss patent issues in the sector. During the meeting, Zambia Congress of Trade Union, Mr. Blake Mulala, called on government to comprehend the review of pay-as-you-earn tax regime this year to reduce the tax burden on workers and sustainably increase the disposable incomes for workers. He notes with concern that workers are expected to contribute 19.3 kwacha in income tax alone, in addition to other tax contribution that came through VAT levies.
You may wish to know that the Zambian workers take much of they pay much of the tax. From the 2023 budget, almost 19.3 billion. This is money which is going to come from pay-as-you-earn and other related taxes. Therefore, we urge you and your governments to come up with a comprehensive review of the tax system so that the workers are relieved, especially on the pay-as-you-earn. We meet here to look at the challenges facing the labour markets.
Speaking earlier, Zambia Federation of Employers Vice President Kennedy Njambe also shared the perspective of employers in the wake of ongoing load shedding and the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are glad to be at this special tripartite consultative labour council meeting
which has been called to do an introspection into the current load shedding of supply of electricity and the COVID-19 situation, as positive cases have been reported to be increasing in the past few days during this first month of January 2023. The introspection has become necessary, especially when one thinks of how the new minimum wages that have been adjusted upwards can be.
And officiating the event, Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba said the meeting is aimed at finding solutions to the surge in COVID-19 cases and discuss the negative impact of load shedding.
Government is deeply concerned about how negatively the load management, which is the result predominantly of climate change, has affected industry, especially small and medium enterprises, SMEs. Undoubtedly, government is doing everything possible to cushion these enterprises from the impact of power rationing through other line ministries. And of course, in so doing, when government pays attention to take measures that will protect industry, government is ensuring that we protect the very essence of the existence of industry, which is ensuring that the welfare of our citizens is protected, that the welfare of our citizens through those who are employed, that which also is extended to those who are unemployed in our households.
Two organizations championing developmental cause in Zambia are happy that government has responded to their call on government's stance over the issue of Vedanta and Konkola copper mines. Speaking to Camnet News shortly after an inquiry at the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development over a letter of petition handed over on the 5th of January 2023, Advocates for National Development and Democracy Samuel Banda says government must act on the matter immediately. In a letter of petition, it was noted that KABWE province economic fundamentals have downgraded, resulting in increased poverty levels among the people who worked and transacted business with the mines. Meanwhile, ZUPID President Ronnie Jerry says the ministry has responded to the letter and that the minister has promised to meet them on the 24th of January for an update on the matter.
Our concern emanates from the fact that this issue has protracted for too long. We believe the longer the impasse, the more the people on the copper belt are suffering. And we want to emphasize our position that government should consider giving KCM back to Vedanta Resources as the legal owners. And we believe that Vedanta Resources has the technical capacity, the financial capacity, and the strong business acumen to operate KCM effectively and efficiently, and more importantly, create employment and business opportunities for our people. Apparently, people on the copper belt, they don't have employment and business opportunities because KCM is not operating effectively and efficiently. Hence, we want to urge government to expedite this process of negotiating with Vedanta Resources and conclude promptly so that we can begin to progress as a country in the interest of development.
Happy that the minister has given us an appointment for next week Tuesday, 24th of January, to have a meeting with him so that he could give us details of how they are progressing in terms of negotiating with Vedanta over the KCM mine. As an organization, as organizations, we are concerned because this issue has protracted. It has been going on, and what is happening is now we can see, because mining is one of, I think it's 85% providing the major exports of what Zambia is exporting outside the country. And when you're exporting, you are receiving foreign exchange. What is happening with the dollar is as a result of the mines not functioning to their optimum.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The 87-year-old man of Kavuma compound in Lusaka's Waterfalls area, who was accused of trafficking in 68 grams of marijuana, has been acquitted by the Lusaka Magistrates Court. Tai Mwape was arrested last year for trafficking in psychotropic substances without authorization. However, had told the court that he was using the said for medicinal purposes for his grandson. Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate acquitted Mr. Mwape after establishing that the prosecution team failed to determine the required quantity of Delta-9 THC in the said drug. More in this report.
After spending more than 2 months in the chilling prison of Lusaka, 81-year-old Tai Mwape, who was accused of trafficking 68 grams of marijuana, has walked to freedom following the judgment passed by the Lusaka's Magistrate Court that the state has failed to prove the allegations against him beyond reasonable doubt. Mwape had initially pleaded guilty to the offense of trafficking in psychotropic substance without authorization and had informed the Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chimbuli, who was residing over his case, that the marijuana found on him by DEC officers was to be used for medicinal purpose. He had told the magistrate that he wanted to put the marijuana in the ears of his grandson, who had an ear infection. However, he later changed his plea after having legal representation. In its judgment this morning, the court has found that the state failed to determine the required quantity of tetrahydrocannabinol, also known as Delta-9 THC, in the said drug. According to the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Act of 2021, to ascertain the presence of marijuana in a product, there should be over 0.3% of Delta-9 THC. The court also found that the prosecution has not proven the exact weight of the suspected marijuana. In this matter, it was alleged that Mr. Mwape, on the 26th of November, trafficked in 68 grams of marijuana. and to commence withdrawal after he had changed his plea. The state had called 4 witnesses in this matter. Mr. Mwape can now go home smiling and spend time with his family. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Community-Based Natural Resources Management Forum has charged that it is not competing with the government and wants to build a strong partnership. However, those appointed by the president to manage the tourism sector must come clean. Addressing the media Wednesday, Zambia CRBNR chairperson Dr. Roger Slubilo says the forum will start calling on the president to replace certain officials because they are not adding any value in addressing issues affecting the tourism sector, rather bringing confusion and hatred. Meanwhile, Zambia CRBNR President George Tembo says the forum is delighted with a recent judgment delivered by the High Court to quash the Ministry of Tourism's re-advertised tender for the granting of safari hunting concessions in 24 hunting blocks in various game management areas issued in August 2022. Mr. Tembo says the move to cancel the hunting concession by the Ministry of Tourism was against the advice of various stakeholders and given to the ministry. More in this report.
Last year, Tourism Permanent Secretary Evans Mohanga cancelled the safari hunting concession agreement signed in 2020 against the advice of the Attorney General Muliro Kabisha, as their hunting session was to open on the 1st of May 2022. The PS instead ordered a re-advertisement of the same in his memorandum dated the 22nd of April 2022. According to the Attorney General's advice in a letter dated the 5th of January 2022, addressed to the President on tender number MTA/SP/001/2020, there was nothing illegal about the tender and that cancelling it would attract lawsuit against the government, of which it did, and in a judgment delivered in December last year, the High Court quashed the Ministry of Tourism re-advertisement tender for granting of safari hunting concession in 24 hunting blocks in various game management areas. Wednesday, the Zambia Community-Based Natural Resources Management Forum held a briefing where they raised concern on the move of the Tourism Ministry to cancel the hunting concession. The forum also observed that government might be subjected to more litigation if the Ministry of Tourism chose not to engage various stakeholders in addressing wildlife issues.
Now look at the consequences it has brought, because they were careless. There was no monitoring. They just allowed people to go and do hunting anyhow. There was a serious destruction in these GMOs, if I may have to tell you. Waste enough, we are aware, and I wish to tell the nation that the ministry went ahead to start transferring those licenses from one hunting block to the other, which is also against the law. So what does the PS and his comrades minister are doing? Are they really supporting the president's voice to respect the rule of law? The answer is no. So the ministry, I wish to state that I think it's just handled by wrong people who can take advice, who think they know everything themselves, and there's nobody who can tell them this.
Meanwhile, the forum says it would like to maintain a good relationship with the government and all stakeholders, however, advise those appointed by the Republican president to manage the tourism sector to come clean.
So what we are saying is that as the community would like to maintain a good relationship with the government, with all the stakeholders, but we are not going to be blackmailed to hero worship when the government is doing wrong. Already the issues that have been raised this morning by the president, our advice against one cancelling concessions, our advice against advertising or retendering was not heard, and we know the outcome of the High Court. Okay, so far as we know, the status quo remains that the decisions to retender is now void. It's a cost to the nation. Yeah, so our appeal is to our brother Mohanga. We don't personalize these national issues. We speak to him because he holds public office.
Miriam Kaimba Reporting for Camnet TV News.
Farmers in Central Province have praised the government for quickly responding to the fight against fall armyworm infestation. Farmers were speaking during the flagship of fall armyworm chemical distribution done by Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua in KABWE. Mr. Nanjua disclosed that government has procured 10,000 liters of chemicals to help in the fight against mitigating crop productivity loss in the province and the country at large. More in the following report.
Government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has responded to farmers' outcry of fall armyworm infestation in their fields. Government has procured 10,000 liters of chemicals to be distributed to small-scale farmers in Central Province to help fight the fall armyworm infestation. This gesture comes shortly after reported incidences of fall armyworm outbreak in all the 11 districts of Central Province, with Chiwombo being the most hit district.
I'm well informed, PS, that so far we have been hit by this infestation of the armyworm, 12.6% infestation, more especially in Chiwombo district. That's why the infestation is identified to be more among all the 11 districts. So with this, we are saying that as government, we are set.
The provincial minister has further warned farmers against selling of farming inputs, which government subsidizes highly and are procured with a view to improve their productivity.
I want to urge our farmers as well. I don't want the repeat that I'm hearing under fertilizer, where beneficiaries collect the fertilizer for selling. That's not the idea of government. We subsidize these inputs, these chemicals, so that we can improve in our agriculture sector as a country.
And Chiwombo District Commissioner has expressed gratitude to government for the quick response to the fight against fall armyworms.
I am a happy district commissioner because they have responded favorably, and right up now the chemical is already sitting in our provincial headquarters, where this morning I was directing my DACO to go and collect the chemicals to give to our farmers.
Farmers have praised government for the gesture. Zambia is once again facing a serious threat to its staple crop, dubbed maize. The crop comprises about 90% of its food energy intake. The threat comes from an invasion of fall armyworms. These are caterpillar-like creatures that arrive in droves and eat their way through the leaves and the stems of plants. Helen Witty reporting from KABWE, Central Province.
You're watching Camnet Television News. We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
You know I can take her a break.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You read me?
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation Wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each. and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back. And now in international news, normal school calendar in the major cities of Malawi, Lilongwe and Blantyre were delayed for 2 weeks now, citing that the two cities were hotspot areas that could probably put many students at risk. Government, through the responsible ministries, had put in place a task force to monitor the spread of the virus. The Ministry of Education announced the resumption of classes in some areas on Tuesday and has set up a task force through the relevant ministries to monitor the spread of the virus. Meanwhile, the UN's Children's Agency, UNICEF, has handed over life-saving supplies worth about 300,000 United States dollars to support Malawi's fight against a cholera outbreak which has killed more than 700 people, including 104 children, since the outbreak began in March of last year. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Normal school calendar in Malawi's major cities, Lilongwe and Blantyre, were delayed for 2 weeks now, citing that the two cities were hotspot areas that could probably put many students at risk. Government, through the responsible ministries, had put in place a task force to monitor the spread of the virus.
We are encouraging them to wash their hands frequently. We have in buckets where will be put water to wash their hands and soap. We also have disinfectants, a chlorine for cleaning the toilets and the classrooms. We are discouraging the learners to buy cooked food around here. We are encouraging them to bring already cooked food from their homes.
UNICEF has handed over life-saving supplies worth about $300,000 to support Malawi's fight against a cholera outbreak which has killed more than 700 people, including 104 children, since the outbreak began in March of last year.
We have supported the Ministry of Education on protocols for safe schools, on hygiene behavior, hand washing, access to safe water, and today we are handing over symbolically to the Minister, the Honourable Minister of Water and Sanitation, wash supplies, water, sanitation and hygiene, which is soap for hand washing, which is tablets for water disinfection, which is buckets, chlorine and other supplies.
The WHO said 31 countries have reported cholera outbreaks since December, a 50% increase over previous years.
A tiger that escaped from a private farm in South Africa and attacked a man and killed 2 dogs and a pig while on the loose for days was euthanized on Wednesday. The 8-year-old female tiger was shot in the early hours of the morning after being spotted in a residential area near where it escaped in Walkerville region south of Johannesburg, according to police. Sheba, who was kept as a pet in an enclosure on a small holding, escaped on Saturday. Such officials used drones and a helicopter to try to locate the tiger. The big cat was finally tracked down in a nearby farming area and close to a number of homes. Its escape has prompted animal welfare organizations to question South Africa's laws around keeping exotic animals as pets.
Libya donated several dozen trucks of food supplies on Tuesday to neighboring Tunisia. The Libyan embassy said months into an economic crisis that has seen repeated shortages of basic goods. A convoy of 96 trucks carrying sugar, oil, flour, and rice from Tripoli passed the Ras Jdir crossing on Tuesday morning, according to the spokesman of Libyan embassy in Tunisia. The operation is set to bring a total of 170 truckloads of supplies from Tripoli, he added. Tunisia is in the grip of a downturn that has spiraled since the 2011 revolution. The country has seen repeated shortages of basic goods, from coffee to petrol in recent months, along with political crisis following President Kais Saied's dramatic power grab in July 2021.
Let's have some sports news now. Sports news tonight. Wales join other nations such as United States of America, England, Brazil, Australia, Norway and New Zealand in paying their players the same international match fee. Scotland women's national football team are taking legal action against the Scottish FA in a fight over equal pay and conditions after talks broke down. Discussions over agreeing a new pay deal to give parity to Wales women have been going on for well over a year, with talks initially taking place in November 2021. Chief Executive Noel Mooney has been in ongoing discussions with Wales women's senior leadership group, which includes Wales' most capped player Jess Fishlock, women's captain Sophie Ingo, and Wales record goalscorer Helen Ward. An agreement on the equal pay was expedited by Wales men agreeing to a cut to their international match fee, with every member of Robert Page's squad agreeing unanimously to do so. To end the Camnet television news, the headlines once again. The Labour movement against contributing high pay as you earn. Former Agriculture Minister GREYFORD MONDE predicts hunger as mealie meal prices go up. KABWE Mayor cries over KK statue as residents reject the sculpture. In international news, Malawi intensifies cholera prevention measures for schools. And in sports news, Football Association of Wales agree landmark deal of equal pay. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from Psalms 56 verse 4. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust. I will not be afraid. What can mortal man do to me? Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television Main News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.